Bonjour. So in this video, I'm going to give you some feedback on the corrections that you can make to your work according to the feedback code. So you can watch this at any point after your first draft. Second draft is just a reminder of some of the most common mistakes that all French 3 students make. And so I want you to look at this carefully and then at your work carefully and identify where you have some of those same errors so you can just make those changes as you need to. That way you don't have to wait, hang around for me or double guess yourself. You can just go ahead and do that. So let's have a look at numéro 1. T'auras à étudier. Okay, so you might see that your work is double underlined, and a double underline is a grammar. That's a grammar issue. Now that could be conjugation, it could be to do with agreement, masculine, feminine, plural, anything to do with the structure of the language is grammar. So in this instance, we have a grammar issue, and that's because this isn't a certain tense. So it doesn't show. I think most of you are going to be using the past tense for most of your expose. You're talking, especially the background of your person, where they grew up. And in this instance, what they studied, étudier, but it should be étudier. Now you could either choose the passé composé, which would be simple, be adding this accent. T'auras à étudier. That would be an example passé composé. But you could want to say she studied like over a long period of time. She was studying for many years, for example. And so we're going to use the imparfait, the imperfect tense, which usually ends in AIT. It always ends in AIT when we talk about just one person. So if you're talking about your person, male or female, it's going to end in AIT, in the imperfect tense. So you choose in your writing whether it is appropriate to use the imperfect or to use the passé composé. Demonstrate what you know about using the past tense by choosing the right one and writing it correctly. So I'll give you guidance by a double underline to say this isn't really one or the either, or it's not been done correctly, and so you got to show me. So let's move on to numéro 2. Here we have il parents, so you might have this, habiter à Paris. So this one definitely would be a circle. This one may be grammar or a circle. And a circle means it's a wrong word. So there's definitely a word in there and you've got the right idea, but it's the wrong word. It's completely not the same word at all. It's not the right conjugation or it's nothing to do with that. It's just not the right word. And often this is a small word. So let's start with this one here, en Paris. We don't say en for a city. If you live somewhere, we don't say in Paris. We do in English, but not in French. We would say à Paris. Okay, so if you have a city in there where you're saying where they lived, where they were born, where they died, it's à Paris, à New York, à Fort Wayne, à. So that can be a quick change. And then over here, this is the wrong word. And so we are going to refer to this table over here, which I've projected. And this is going to be really useful to you. So you may want to always come back to this video and pause on the screen. If you're in a classroom, I have copies of this on the whiteboard. You can go and grab it and use it and then put it back. So this table shows us all the ways that we can use what are called possessive adjectives. So how to say my, your, his, her, its, our, your, or their. And in French, there are many ways of saying this. And you're very familiar with my, how to use my, mon, ma, ou mes. And you know that it depends on what you're talking about. So if you're talking about my dad, it would be mon père. But if it's my mom, it would be ma mère. So you understand those principles. And plural, just move me. Plural is mes, as in my friends or my parents, would be me. Okay. What we're less familiar with and we struggle with is whenever we're using this one. And in this example, we may even need this one. Okay, so some of the other ones which are we don't use so much, but the same principle applies. So here we're talking about parents. So is that masculine, feminine, or plural? It's plural. So we're going to look here in this column. And it depends on whether the student wants to say his parents or their parents. Now, I think if I remember, most of you are going to say his or her parents because you're talking about one person, his or her parents. So if we're going to do that, it's going to be here. And so this is going to change to ses parents. If, however, I mean, I don't know, and obviously in this example, I don't remember at all, but if you should know what you're trying to say. So I'm going to give you the whole table. I'm not going to make the correction for you because I want you to make that judgment and to learn in the process. So instead, you could say their, and you could put leurs parents habitaient à Paris. Okay, so use the table to your heart's delight. Let's move on to numéro 3. Il était né. Now, a lot of people do this. I'm going to, again, double underline. You might see it double underline like that because this is a combination between imparfait and passé composé, but it is not one or the other, and it has to just be one. Sometimes I might put below PC to give you an indication this should be passé composé, because when somebody is born, they're born. That's it. And when they die, they die. That's it. So we need passé composé, not imparfait. So, or you may see that I just double underline this one because this is really where the issue is. And so it's going to be il est né. So if you have that, and a lot of students struggle with this, if you have that in your piece of work, go and change it from il or L, if it was L, to né. And remember, if it's L, we're going to have that extra E. See, still that same accent there. But if it's il, there's no extra E. Okay, masculine, feminine. Okay, numéro 4, elle travaille avec. Okay, so again, we have a conjugation. We're going to have another double underline. That currently says she works with. Some people have the person is still currently living, and so you might be using the present tense to describe, but a lot of us are talking about somebody that's died, dead. So everything we're going to be using when we describe them is in the past. So that needs to be either passé composé or imparfait. And again, I'm expecting you to make that judgment call of which one you would use. So either way, you're going to change it. Just like up here, it's going to be, let me just erase this. It's either going to be travailler. If it's imperfect, she used to work, or she worked, over many years she worked, or elle a travaillé, she worked, passé composé. And so remember, with the passé composé, you either need à travailler, à étudier, or in this instance, est né, est mort, est allé. Okay, so we always need those 3 parts for passé composé. All right, and last one of my favorites is Edith's mère. So I probably would again double underline this. Sometimes for some students, I guess at French 2, I'm doing this, putting an X through the apostrophe S. Actually, what you probably are more likely to see is a switcheroo, arrow saying that this needs to be flip-flopped. And so remember, we don't have the apostrophe S in French. So anytime you want to say such and so's wife, such and so's mom, such and so's son, daughter, whatever relationship, a lot of you are doing wife and husband, you got to switch it. And in English, we would phrase it as the, in this example, the mother of Edith. So the order changes. It's longer, yes, but it makes sense. And that is the only way to do it. So we'll write la. And so we have to include la, the mother, la mère de Edith, Edith, like that. But see here how we have and together. So in this example, we're just gonna get rid of that and put Edith. And you might see that I've done that with a few of your things where I've just gone ahead and like erased out the E and put an apostrophe. So this now comes, let me redo this. So you know when you rewrite it out again for your second draft, it's a lot closer. Didit, Lame Didit. Okay. If it was a name that didn't start with a vowel, that would stay there. So Lame de Laura would stay like that. Okay, so the D is the same. The mother of, but just the way that it sounds is represented through that apostrophe. The edit becomes dedit. And that's it. So whether it's mother of, husband of, wife of, son of, anything where you would have that apostrophe S, switch it around. Okay. All right, good luck. Good luck working on your redrafting process and making your writing even better by making these changes.